In this video, you'll learn all about GTO Wizard, what it is, the main features it has to offer, and how you can use them. And all of this in under 15 minutes. This is GTO Wizard Decoded. So once you've created an account and logged in to GTO Wizard, we're going to be at this home page. And there's three main tools when beginning out what we can use here. There's the study tool, there's the trainer, and there's the upload hand feature. We'll start with the study tool. We'll click here and we're going to be loaded with some pre-flop charts. GTO Wizard offers a variety of free pre-flop charts, which is something to definitely take advantage of. Offering free charts for spin and goes, a heads up sit and goes, some free cash game charts, and also some free charts for MTT. For example, on the cash game, you're going to be able to choose the rake structure and how deep we are. Spin and go, we're going to be able to choose how deep we're playing. So we're going to choose spin and goes for our example. And we're going to be presented with the button strategy as this is a first whack player. We can see that the button is using a min raise only strategy. I recommend when using charts to begin with, we stay on this strategy plus EV from the drop down menu. This is going to show us how we want to play our hands and also the expected EV of playing them this way. So if we pick ace king offsuit for example, we're going to expect to make 2 big blinds by min raising. Okay, so let's min raise as this is the only option that the button chooses. So we go to the top panel here and click raise 2. We're going to have the small blind fold, so we click fold, and then we're going to get the big blind strategy. Big blind's mainly calling, given a very good price of 1 to win 4.5 big blinds, and then it's going to have some jams to take away that dead potential money with all-ins, and a few raise non-all-ins, and a few folds, but not many given the price. Okay, so let's click the most common option, which is to call. And now we're going to have 3 different options we can choose here. We can either select a board ourselves, so if we want to look at a specific board, we can click the cards here and select them ourselves. If we want a completely random board, we can click this shuffle icon and it's going to give us a randomly generated flop. And a very powerful thing is reports. If we click flop reports here, it's going to give us all of the report different flops here. And underneath here, it's going to give us the highest card on the flop. So let's say, for example, we wanted king high flops. We click near the king, and we're going to see all the flops are king high. What this tool is amazing for is giving us a general idea of the overall strategy on all boards. So we're on the big blind strategy here, and we see 98.2% of checks. This gives us the heuristic that big blind versus button, single raise pot, the big blind in general just wants to always check. There's a few exceptions, and we can see this by looking for where the red is, and we see it's mainly coming from 7 high and lower boards in general. But it's going to be a very nice simplification just to check everything, and we're already playing our first action big blind versus button very accurately just from looking at this flop report. So we click check, and it's going to show us the button's overall strategy across all the different board types. We see now only 16.7% of checks. So we already have the heuristic that when the button has a c-bet opportunity versus a big blind, it's very, very often going to take it. And we can see a lot of small betting is going on here. So a lot of range betting. So let's see how we can use the study tool once we've seen the flop. So let's pick a random flop. Let's just go for a high one. Let's go for any we see here, ace jack 8. And we're going to see here, we can click this study this spot, this little hat icon, and it's going to open a new tab up for us with the specific board we chose. Okay, the big blind we're going to have checking, as we've already seen. The big blind is almost always checking. So now we're on the button's action, and we see it's betting pretty much everything. So we could already see a nice general strategy would be to go for a range bet. Why is this? Well, we can see very nicely what's going on. If we click this ranges button next to the strategy plus EV drop down, it's going to display all of the buttons range on the right, all of the big blinds range on the left in this matrix, and we're going to have some stats here. It's going to tell us the EV, so the button has 3.57 big blinds of EV compared to 0.93 for the big blind, so we see there's a huge advantage going on for the button on such a board. This is displayed too in the equity, 65.3% compared to 34.7% for the big blinds range. And at the bottom we have a graph which also demonstrates this, the green line representing the equity of the button's holdings, the blue line representing the equity of the big blind's holding. The green line's pretty much always above the blue line, indicating a very, very strong range advantage for the button. We also have the bucket section here, which we can change. We can have it simple, which is just going to show who has best hands, good hands, weak hands, trash hands. We can change it to advanced, which is going to give us equity percentages. What this means is if a hand is in the 90 to 100 equity bucket, it means that holding has 90 to 100% equity versus all of the villain's range. And it can also see specific hands, hand categories. We can also see this on the right hand side for whoever's turn it is. It's going to show us how much of the range is different holdings. But having it here shows what both players' percentage of holdings is. So this is also a nice visualization. And this is something I think GTO Wizard does really nicely, is offers us lots of visual tools to see what's going on. Okay, so let's go back to our strategy plus EV here, and let's select the most common option. It's pretty close between 1.5 and 2.25, so let's go for the half pot. When we click this, it's now going to go on to the big blind strategy, and it's going to show us how it reacts. So we see it's folding a lot here, recognizing that the button is very strong, but we can see what it's calling, what's folding, and we can nicely see thresholds by using this filters tab here. We see that if we go to top pair, it's never got any blue, so we're never folding a top pair. We drop down to second pair. There's a tiny bit of blue creeping in, but almost none, so we've already got a heuristic here that middle pair or better is not looking to fold versus this bet sizing. And then if we go to third pair, it's starting to fold a significant amount. We can click any of these hand categories and it will display only the hand categories we've clicked. So if we want to see third pair, we click and it's only going to show us third pair, and we can look a bit deeper. In future videos, I will cover more in depth how we can use all of the different options on this study feature. But for this video, I'm just demonstrating what it is, and it's giving you a general strategy of how we can play flops, turns and rivers depending on the actions we give it. And it's already been pre-solved for us, and it's very, very quick. Okay, so what if we want a more example-driven, practical approach? If we want that, then the trainer's going to be fantastic for this. We can even go back to our flop aggregated reports, and we chose previously the Ace of Hearts, the Jack of Diamonds, and the 8 of Hearts board. So this one, instead of clicking the study this spot, we could have clicked the practice this spot, and this will open us up again in a new tab, but this time it's going to load the exact board situation, and it's going to let us play hands from the range in this and practice. So we can practice as a button, for example, here, and click Start Training, and it's going to give us hands from the button's range, and it's going to give us a variety of different options we can take here. We can click any of these buttons, so checking or betting different sizings, and it's going to give us a score and rate our decision. On the right here, there's going to be lots of extra information we can make use of, but again, this is something I will cover in a more specific video. This is just to demonstrate how we can actually play with the trainer. So let's choose an option we think might make a lot of sense. I think this hand will benefit from protection, so a small bet of 1 or 1.5 is going to make the most sense here. Why don't we go for 1.5? We see it's giving us a tick, so this is a correct move. If we want to see the scores for all the moves we could have made, we click the street we just did, and it's going to give us a score. You see, I chose 1.5 and it's happy with this and gave us a tick. The double tick is the option it's going to take the most often. This would be the best move, and this time it decided half pot was the best move. We're going to see it's going to keep track of our score on the panel on the left here. It's going to tally how many times we chose the best move, a correct move, or any errors, and it's going to give us an overall percentage score. So this is really nice for getting in the repetition, getting in the practice in a specific spot. So if we wanted a different hand on the same board, we could click next hand, and it's going to give us a different hand where again we can choose what we want to do. Again, I think it's going to be a spot where you can bet anything 1 to 2.25 and it's going to be a good move. Let's go for a small bet, and you see it is a good move. If we wanted to check the best move again, we can click the flop and it's going to show us what it believed the best move is. Because the big blind folded in our example, the hand's over. If the big blind didn't fold, we'd get to make our decision for the next street and it would again give us a score and track it here in a similar way. If we decide that we want to keep practicing in the trainer but we now want to study a different spot, what we can do is on this controls panel, we can click configure session, so this little cog icon, and it's going to display spot. If we want to choose a different spin and go scenario, we can click this cog and customize. If we're happy with the position and the spot we're in, but we just want to change the board types, for example, we could click board, and we could either choose another specific board by clicking here and adding the cards, or we could cancel this with the cross, and we could make use of these grouping features. So let's say we only wanted to study flush draw boards, we could click flush draw. We only wanted non-paired boards, so we just wanted to study flush draw boards that are non-paired. We could choose these filters and we could click start training, and now it's only going to give us boards that have a flush draw and a non-paired, and we can do the same thing again, choosing what we think the best option is and playing against the bot and continuing to gather a score here. And the third really key tool we can make use of is the uploading hand features. We can see in the top right there's this button to upload. If we click this, it's going to give us an option where we can paste a singular hand, or if we click files we could then upload a large selection of hands. I'll demonstrate how we can do a single hand, so if we click here and paste a hand in, I've chosen one that I played from a spin and go yesterday, and we can click the analyze tool, and it's going to demonstrate the hand we played. It's going to show every decision we took and give us whether or not it agrees with us. We can also get this to visualize nicely by clicking this button here of replay hand, and it's going to load it in a very similar interface as the trainer. So we see my hand was 7.5 big blinds effective. The small blind limped, I was in the big blind, so I had an option between checking or isolating. I decided to check, and we've got the double green tick, meaning the solver would take this option as the best move. We can click this right button, keep the hand going. So Queen 8-6 came and I checked to the small blind, which it agrees with, and we see the small blind chose the bet 1 option, and I decided to call, which is the best move for the solver. We're shallow, so we don't need to worry that much about trying to get chips in, so just keeping any bluffs in. The turn came the ace, and I checked, which the solver agrees with. The small blind bets 2, and I again continued to slow play to keep any bluffs in. Solver agrees. Check, check. Sorry, check by me on the river. Action to the small blind, who goes all in for the remaining 3.67 big blinds, and I have an easy call with 2 pair. So it likes the way I've played this hand. What about this hand might seem comfortable to call, but what if I had a pair of 6, for example, and I wanted to know would I call this? Well, I can now click study this spot, and it's going to open the study interface I showed off earlier for the exact hand I uploaded. And let's say I wanted to know, well, what was my threshold for calling that turn barrel? I could locate where the turn was at the top. So the turn was here, I checked, he bet 2. So I could click the big blind here, and it's going to show me what my response should have been to that 2 big blind barrel. I think GTO Wizard does a fantastic job in combining these 3 features together and allowing you to navigate around them at the ease of a few clicks. If you've liked this video and you think that GTO Wizard is a tool you might want to get for yourself, you can get 10% off your first purchase by clicking the link in the description. This helps us to keep these videos free. You can also find the link on our homepage at r&bpoker.com and on our Discord server. I will be covering the study, trainer and uploads tool in more detail in the next videos, so if you want to see these, I'd recommend you to come and watch them, and good luck on the tables, and see you in the next video.